Have you ever felt like you're the odd one out because you don't have a large group of friends? Well, let me tell you something. Being a loner might just be one of your strengths. As I get older, I find myself wanting fewer and fewer friends. Particularly since I turned 60, I've had a very deliberate strategy of trying to prune the numbers down to just a small handful of people whose company I enjoy. I can count the number of friends now probably on one hand, whereas when I was younger, especially in my 20s, I think it ran into the couple of dozen probably, in all honesty. And I found it quite hard to maintain a friendship group of over 2 dozen people, whereas it's a lot easier to do a friendship group of about 5 or 6 people. But when I thought about those friends, the 5 or 6 people that I enjoy hanging out with, I asked myself the question, how many of those people are true friends? Now, my definition of a true friend is somebody who will have your back no matter what the situation. They will not be envious of anything you do. They will champion you. They will be proud of you. They'll be delighted when you have success, and you'll be delighted when they have success. It's the sort of person that when there's something wrong with you, you know they'll come to your aid. How many of those kind of people can we genuinely say we have in our lives? Apart from our family, obviously. But our friends? How many of our friends fall into that category? Is it a problem that I've only got a small group of friends, and of those friends, only 1 or 2 are probably true friends? Well, I don't think so. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to explain why. For many years, I thought that having a large circle of friends was a sign of popularity and even success. So by that definition, the fact that I now only have a small circle of friends means that I'm neither popular nor successful. And the truth is, that's not actually right. As a young man, I felt pressured really by society to nurture a wide circle of friends. And when I look back on it, I think to myself, that isn't really a good thing. Much better to spend time with a small group of people who you care a lot for and who care for you than having 100 shallow friendships. I mean, what would you rather have? 1 true friend or 100 of those shallow friendships? If you watched any of my earlier videos, you'll know that I quit work when I was 44 and classed myself as being retired at that point. So from the age of 44 to say 50, I guess, I was still pretty hung up about having friends. I found it very difficult making the transition from full-time work when I was surrounded by people to suddenly finding myself on my own quite a lot. So, a bit like my younger self, I made a concerted effort to go out there and develop friendship groups. And I guess by the time I was 50, those numbers had risen to, I guess, 20 or so people, something like that, that I used to hang out with. They didn't know each other. I mean, some of them were small groups of 2 or 3, another group of 3, 4, 5. But here's the reality. I didn't have a lot in common with many of them. I just felt that I needed friends, otherwise what was I going to do with my time? And looking back, I now know that that was just a sign of me struggling to make that transition from full-time work into retirement. What I've come to realise over the last 10 years, and particularly since I turned 60, that there is so much peace and tranquility in being on your own. Today's a perfect example. It's Friday afternoon and I'm out for a nice long walk in York. Today, at the moment, I'm just meandering through some allotments right in the heart of the city, and it's so peaceful. I mean, as I stand here now, I can't hear any cars. I can just hear birds. And that's good for your mental health. You wouldn't think I was right in the middle of a city. After 60 in particular, I've chosen to swap time with other people for time on my own. One of the great benefits of that is there's no need for any form of social validation. No need to act the part just to maintain your popularity. There's power in solitude and there's strength in being on your own. I made a strategic decision to actively disengage from people. Taking those numbers down from 20 to 5 people. It was a vital thing to do. It was important for my mental health. No longer did I have to worry about whether I was saying or doing the right thing. The small group of people that I made an effort to hang out with, who I regard as close friends, they like me for who I am. They like me warts and all. I don't have to put on some kind of act for them. Maintaining a large circle of friends actually takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, and I just decided after 60 that I didn't want to put that kind of time in. I wanted to spend those hours doing something more appropriate for me and something that was good for my mental health. And that means spending as much time on my own as I possibly can. I'm keen to do things that I enjoy, not what other people enjoy. I'd much rather have a long walk in the countryside in Yorkshire than to be hanging around with a group of people whose company I don't really like, in all honesty. Now, does that make me antisocial? Maybe it does. I think it's more because of my introvert tendencies than anything else, but I just gain so much energy from spending time on my own in nature particularly. That decision has been fantastic for my mental health. I'm so much healthier and happier by spending time walking, or spending time on my own going to the gym, or growing my mind by spending time on the hobbies and interests, the things that I enjoy. For example, this YouTube channel. I thoroughly enjoy making these videos. I'm combining walking out and about in the country air with making videos and helping people by sharing some of the things that have happened to me, hoping it might help them avoid the cul-de-sacs that I went down. And if I do spend any time with people, I'd rather that was with my family. They love me unconditionally. There are no strings attached with them. I don't want to spend the final chapters of my life, and if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I think life is all about chapters. Each chapter lasts about 7 years, and how many do we get? Maybe 11, 12, something like that. Well, I don't want to spend those chapters nurturing a social circle and having to act the part. I want to spend those final chapters enjoying myself, doing the things that I like to do with people whose company I enjoy, and people who I know will support me if I need that support. There's a huge difference between chosen solitude and loneliness. And I do get it that there are a lot of people, particularly older people, who haven't chosen solitude and they are lonely. And I do sympathise with them, and I hope one day that I'm not that type of person. But I choose solitude for the simple reason that it's good for my mental health. I get a lot done when I'm out and about on these kind of walks. I think about a lot of things, and you read about a lot of the great thinkers of history who sought out solitude to enable their minds to get into a place where they could resolve problems and do some real constructive and critical thinking. And I find that to be the case too. I think so much better when I'm on my own on these kind of walks. So the bottom line is, if solitude was good enough for David Bowie, and I know it was, then it's good enough for me. Your worth is not measured by the size of your social circle. That's something to remember. The reality is that it's found in the depth of your character, and spending time alone allows you to do a deep dive and get to know yourself so much better. I haven't found a better way to find inner peace. What are your thoughts? Please leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from them, and I will endeavour to answer as many as I can. But some of my recent videos have got an awful lot of comments, so unfortunately I can't answer them all. But I will be online for an hour or so most mornings, so I'll try and answer as many as I can and comment on as many as I can. But what are your thoughts about solitude versus loneliness? Do you actively seek out time on your own? And if you do, what do you do with that time? Do you use it to grow your mind? Do you use it to exercise and stay healthy? What do you think the benefits are of spending time on your own? Anyway, thanks very much for watching. There is a video coming up next that you might want to watch. It explains why I avoid people after 60 years of age. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.